had to like was participating in it and still managed to come out of it clean.
He was the manager's manager.
Yeah,
you need that. You need that. You always need one person. You always need one person on the inside. And I don't think Kev intended to be that, but like when you're real and you just see all this crazy shit, he ended up being that, you know, and that was Kev.
Yeah, for sure. No, he gave the best perspective on all of it. So
yeah, for sure.
Speaking of perspective, Rock E coming to the big 2 on the back and the stinky and the back door.
Nice. How many is that in the back?
Like
man,
3.
we're setting a new record here.
Wow, that
3
sounds
back
so.
door.
All right, that was a little zesty.
You might need some lube if too many of them get in there.
Just keep cramming them in.
Okay, can I talk to Non-Fawn about GameStop?
Oh, Lord.
No.
Sure. I don't know a ton about it. Again, I'm not a finance.
Okay,
person.
so a lot of kids your age I talk to. I'm 31. You know, I practice law, and I day traded for a little bit. I made a few $100s here and there. I'd like invest into Apple or Costco or these companies when I knew like they were releasing a product that was going to make a lot of profit. I'd put in a little bit of money and then I'd short trade out. This is why Warren Buffett has like Berkshire Hathaway 1 and Berkshire Hathaway 2, where it's like 1 you got to invest at least like $60,000 or $50,000 on any given trade, but 2 is like, for the regular day traders or whatever. So I kind of got my taste of all that. But what I learned was during the GameStop situation that all of these hedge funds tried to short GameStop, and all of these young kids like you, Non-Fawn, were invested in GameStop and saw the fraudulent behavior amongst these, corporations and the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission. And so these kids basically shorted. It was like the Big Short. It was like 2008 all over again. It was these small hedge funds that shorted literally the housing market, and these banks laughed them off, and then they became 100 millionaires, and the whole country suffered. So these kids, your age, that I've over time talked to, right? Whatever, FG, you're always correcting me, but you get it. Layman.
Well, no, it started with Roy and Kitty, who's not a kid, but.
Right, but okay, but whether it's Jeffrey on the GameStop side, or excuse me, on the hedge fund side, or the GameStop people, what I found is so fascinating is that these young kids, especially the ones that did it early enough to where they got rich, and then now the ones that are trying to fight the law on it and keeping their life savings in the stock, they're waiting for a time where government and stock agencies will be held accountable so they can get their due. And I find that extremely impressive, especially from an audience that is so young that when I was that age, I was playing Xbox and fucking smoking weed and going to school, so it's just, that's why I brought that up, dude. Like, I know you said you're not familiar with it, but I do think when people your age are so in tune with finances and all that, you got a small minority of you guys have shown you're nothing to fuck with. Like, you guys know what you're doing. So, that's all.
It's funny that you're talking to Non-Fawn, and Non-Fawn said he didn't get any of it, and I'm actually sitting here as someone who did buy GME stock.
You seem older.
I know.
You seem older than him.
GameStop, I never invested, and I don't know the.
Just take the compliment and say thank you and act like you did. He wanted to come.
Was it during the short squeeze though?
I have no idea, but like. I think at this point, AJ is determined to deliver a compliment to Non-Fawn. So let's not make that difficult for him.
True.
No, I just want to say during the short squeeze.
Yeah, I just want to say, yeah, AJ. So it worked out good, right? Just going to say, AJ, you made some months. So why can't you drop $2 in the fucking super chat, bro?
Oh my God! Here we go again.
Or your team.
Team flow, dude. Why are you here? Why don't you pay? Here we go again.
He's one of those people, he just doesn't. He's not going to be.
I can say one thing though about that GME thing really quick. The GME saga did prove one thing, and it proved that the stock market is a game, a rigged game. Most of the actual action for the stock market is taking place in after hours. All the really dirty shit is taking place after hours. So nearly everything
like
retail.
The backdoor shit.
Anything retail investors do is not even done washed in during normal hours to even affect price. So it's
But FG, everybody was asking everybody else except for you.
I know. It was funny. I was just letting it go. now it's become a movement of hanging on to the stock and actually like getting the actual physical representation of the stock, so they cannot, because once you do that, they cannot utilize it for washing these short trades anymore. And it's become kind of a movement of being anti the ethos of the stock market, which is to always to like buy and sell these stocks as you would like the up and down goes. They're like making a wall around this company just as a point.
And FG, would you agree that a lot of that had to do with the youth or the young adults in the market that were investing?
I mean, it had a lot to do with that. It had a lot to do with free money. It had a lot to do with, it had a lot to do with Roaring Kitty basically making those YouTube videos pointing out the fact that they were trying to do to GameStop what they had already done to places like KB Toys and Walden Books. And because hedge funds have been doing that for a while, where they've been naked shorting things into oblivion and then basically making money off of the carcasses of the businesses. And they were planning to do that to GameStop, and he just pointed it out. And all you had to do to counter it was buy the stock.
I think the difference on this one was that it wasn't just a hedge fund, it was a trading platform that was behind it.
I'm still not seeing any. I'm still not seeing it. I'm still not seeing. I'm still not seeing any super chats.
The Robinhood thing came in later, but that was kind of an egregious,
well, on that piece of it,
egregious little piece of insider shit happening right there.
Which Robinhood was great. Besides that, they let you buy fractional shares. Like, I mean, I think most of the
that depends on
now, but
because it's more your lights.
Yeah, but if they're willing to just disable the sell button, it's not really a fair system, is it?
Exactly. That's why I don't use them. But at the time, they were kind of enticing and like give you like X amount. Hey, here's some free stocks to get you started or whatever.
Well, that's the whole point. Like, invest into their app and then be like, hey, we're gonna not let you sell off whenever the fuck you feel like. So it's basically you're just
that's
do whatever the fuck they want.
Danger, Will Robinson, all the red flags, the big buzzers, all the things like no whammies, stop. Yeah, it was all the whammies. Like don't use Robinson.
But the people who are sitting there still to this day saying that the shorts have to
Marathon
clear, just kind of silly.
I will accept the pause. That was a good, nicely placed pause, Kev.
So, Effigy, are you the guy who told me he had a fucking PhD in fucking string theory? Was that you?
Do I sound like a guy with PhD in string theory?
I'm sorry, I'm already hearing. I heard string theory.
Yeah, somebody told me they had a fucking degree, a PhD in string theory, and I said, "Bro, what a waste of fucking time." How do you have a doctorate in that?
I mean, that'd be a PhD in theoretical physics with like a concentration maybe in string theory.
Yeah, theoretical. I mean, how would you even? What institution has a degree program in string theory?
For theoretical
string
physics
theory for that much?
That's what I'm saying. It'd be theoretical physics, and then
I'm just a silly monkey. I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. So can you afford? Can you afford like $3 for a super chat, bro? What the fuck's wrong with you? Sarah, I'm trying to be a co-host. I'm trying to do the grift.
How's it working?
Pretty good so far.
Pretty sure, Sarah. I'm gonna just let Ozzy talk until payment is made.
Oh no!
There we go. So if all you motherfuckers are enjoying the channel for free, and you could spend $2, $5.
Bro,
what's a coffee cost?
What are you spending, bro?
Yeah, how much did you?
The fuck are you spending with your Australian currency?
I'm pretty sure I spent about. I'm pretty sure I spent about $50 tonight.
Every time you hit the like button, a tariff goes away.
No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
No problem.
Don't do me dirty. Don't do me dirty. I'm pretty sure.
I will back it up. There's still only 30 likes, or actually 29 likes. There's 70 viewers. If we get 30 more likes, I will count that as a contribution to remove Ozzy as the main speaker. So
just hit the like button, people.
No, we want to hear Ozzy. Fuck everybody else.
Or make your payment.
I don't want to kill Ozzy.
Ozzy, what is your profile picture? Is this a vagina drawn onto something?
That's a skull.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why I'm on full screen. Everyone's talking about me.
As though
Trying to look
You're
on your
over here bitching
Yeah,
and
close
moaning
that.
about people not sending enough money, so you got the stage, big dog. Send the money or tell
I'm
people
trying to
send
talk
it.
about that like geometric vagina that's drawn on your forehead with the skull.
It's got
Get this
teeth.
motherfucker.
That
Hey,
vagina has
hey, get
teeth.
this motherfucker off the main stage, sir. I just sent you 50. I'm sick of these motherfuckers bitching and moaning without a job.
There we go. There we go. Got you, bro.
I'm sick of it.
Got you,
I'm
bro.
sick of these broke ass
Got you, bro.
bums.
This is why I fucks with lawyers. Lawyers are awesome.
No, it's like if you really piss me, I'll pay.
Give you. You know what? Actually, the floor's yours, AJ. Since you
No,
sent the
just
50.
say it. Just
Go
say
ahead.
it, sir. I don't care.
Our lovely AJ sent a whole $50 to say, kick Aussie and stop kicking me. Love you. Aussie, your final thoughts before you are removed from the panel.
My final thoughts are because hang on, my final thoughts, if I could,
Yeah.
AJ's my bitch because I convinced him to spend $50. You love you, bro. I'll talk to you later.
That's fair play.
Get the fuck out of
He
here.
just put you in his kangaroo pouch.
Wow.
Joke's on you. It was in Zimbabwe dollars.
See you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Love you all.
It came out to 67 cents for Sarah.
Oh, it's a fraction of a cent. Don't worry about that.
Thank you, AJ.
It's
That was
worth
pretty
more
good.
as toilet paper.
Hey,
No,
I
it's
bled it out
honestly,
of you.
it's long overdue. It's long overdue.
That's fair. That's fair. I will accept. Happily.
War Pig Gaming, I've got the super chat button on my side on the Powder Dusty. If anybody wants to put it in the Powder Dusty, that is there.
And
Sarah
Marathon
unfortunately
Kev,
Mhm.
Marathon Kev sent another 10 to say insurance on AJ being not being bought off the panel. AJ, your spot has been
You're a made man.
locked in. You have been made.
You're part of the La Familia.
You can thank Marathon Kev. I'm sorry, Dusty. I interrupted your grift. Please continue the grift.
No, I'm done. I was just actually I was trying to say La Familia without being retarded, but I can't do it. I was just making noises.
We already know you're retarded. You didn't have to say words to prove that.
I mean,
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But ape strong together.
Ooh.
Ape strong together.
Ape strong.
Ape strong together.
Non-found looks like uncomfortable. Are you uncomfortable with retards? Are you uncomfortable around retarded people?
Yeah, I'm just so much smarter. It's hard.
Okay.
It's hard.
Oh shit!
Is it the little hands?
Yeah. Was it? Wait. It was you, by the way, Dusty, that said you agreed with me on tariffs, except for the redistribution part, right?
Well, I agree with your perspective on basically the things we're talking about. I disagree on your desire to redistribute wealth. It's interesting that you have a free market and also redistributive perspective, because those two normally are at odds with each other.
Non-fund's great.
I think it's fair to say that like the free market is, works in most cases, but like obviously I think the free market, because it only distributes income to people who based on only provides income to people who either contribute labor or capital, who contribute to factors of production. People who don't contribute factors to production, whether because they're disabled or they're too old.
Why would anyone deserve output from something they didn't provide any input to?
Also, facilitators.
Society
seems
like society is better when we do so. It just seems like
that's
a net utility maximizing thing.
Yeah, I'll let it slide because you're younger than me.
Wait, what's the issue with what I just said? I don't think it's at all. I don't think it's at all like that.
Were you born after 9/11?
Yeah, I'm 19.
It's because it's
okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Because I think you underestimate how much a lot of people just legitimately suck.
Well, those of us who were born pre 9/11, we kind of really our trust issues. Let's just say we were in a very toxic relationship with our mainstream upbringing. So us millennials, we kind of have a very, I guess you could say, disingenuous perception on what the government's doing, especially
would you get rid of Social Security.
Well, I also understand what theft is.
Well, you could define. I understand you can define like taxes and redistribution to be theft, but then I would just say theft isn't bad, because my position is that
it is
a lot
of
of
how you can in a democracy, though.
a lot of these, like welfare systems are just net utility maximizing, in that like society as a whole, overall utility is maximized when we distribute.
That's the argument. I disagree that that's the result. And morally, I don't see how anybody can say, well, you created this, but I deserve it. It's a nonsense.
Well, it's non-fun. This is why I brought up GameStop to you, right? This is why I brought up GameStop, because I don't know if you've seen The Big Short. A lot of us have. It's got Christian Bale in it, Steve Carell from The Office, right? It's one of the greatest movies ever. Shout out to Adam McKay.
Explains the actual thing.
Yeah, he's super underrated director. Adam McKay is awesome, but
we're doing movie reviews.
He also did Vice, which was about Dick Cheney. So,
oh my god, I could not care less.
And you get to the point, though, AJ.
But, okay, I'm trying. The reality is, when you have such blind faith in a market that you think is just coincidental, don't you think the corruption, especially the caught out corruption in the past that people have benefited from, should be, put into question when we talk about how the free market is going into its direction today? Like, I don't think I'm the one with blind faith in the market.
I'm the one arguing against the market.
Yeah, that would feed into non-Fon's argument.
I would also say that The Big Short had nothing to do with corruption. It's more about moral hazard.
Right.
It's that capitalistic wants will push you past where morals should make you stop.
Right, but I think you guys are missing my point. You have non-Fon saying that the free market is the market today because it's free, right? And we have to acknowledge it. And I think, I don't know, I can't speak for other people on the panel, but what I'm saying is there is a clear agenda or a narrative that has been pushed in these markets through fraudulent behavior. Fraudulent behavior that has gone without criminal prosecution for decades on end. Right? So it's like, this is where we need to start understanding that the market in itself is a fallacy. It's not a real market. It's not a real.
So, are you talking about the stock market? If you're talking about share prices, that's a bit different from like consumer markets
or yeah.
Any company that's open to have people trade or invest is going to be on the stock market. But when I'm talking about the market, I'm talking about your local farmers market. I'm talking about your local mom and pop shop, right?
Yeah. Okay, what's the question?
So it's like the question is this: if Haji at your local 7-Eleven has to pay $11 per pack of smokes and charge $12.95, and he's only making $1.30. Like we're talking about a time where people would say they could get this stuff for a quarter. So it's
would
like,
you say
at this point, is it inflation or is it delusion of the market itself?
It's inflation.
Would you say also we're tax maxing right now? Can I use some brain rot?
Not tax maxing.
I
mean,
I live in California. If you're going to tell me my government's not tax maxing, my state government.
I mean, California, I understand it's high taxes, but like as a whole, the U.S. tax as percentage.
That's false. If you look, if you even taxes out,
it's objectively true. Anyone could look this up. The U.S. taxes as a percentage GDP is lower than the OECD average of the other developed countries. That is true.
Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. That's a fine metric. That doesn't matter at all. If you look historically at the amount that can be extracted from citizens through taxes, we're at the breaking point. If the population as a whole gets taxed at much higher of a rate, that's when societies decline. It's about a 70%.
Ow.
Right, but also this is what we're talking about. Blind faith here.
We've also been shifting the burden onto the lower classes the whole time, though.
You just compared.
It's not 70% tax. It's 70% value.
At the breaking point for
Flow state. Okay. Read it.
My doll hairs. Thank you, James, for putting 2 more in back.
No, but this is what I mean about blind faith, right? Because you're talking about statistical comparisons to countries who per capita and even their socialized Medicare, all this stuff has nothing to do with a country with over 300 million people that have way more diversity, that have way more non-fun. You do realize there is no country
taxes as a percentage GDP. It's not that I understand.
Okay, so does China or India, or Russia tax their people more than the United States does? Because you're now comparing us to Norway or Sweden or England or Ireland, which, yes, they tax their people 50 to 60% of their net worth per year, but they also have socialized medicine.
Wait, Norway's all white people. Are we talking about taxing white people more right now?
And they also have like 20, 30 million, maybe 50 million people per country.
We're talking about the total amount of productivity that goes towards government. So that includes not just income tax, not just sales tax, but every incremental increase in sales tax it takes to get a pencil from wood and graphene or whatever it is into
Graphite.
a finished product. It includes licenses, it includes tariffs, all these things. We spend a massive amount of money towards the government.
Yeah, any kind of
That's also not
paperwork
true. We
to
spend
charge you.
26% of GDP. That is lower than most other countries as well.
What
The
are you
US
talking-
government, the
what
federal
I
government is
mean,
the
when you
biggest
talk like
employer
that,
on
you
earth.
sound like you haven't
The federal
actually
government
looked
is
at the whole
absolutely not
picture.
the like.
Okay,
maybe
hold on. When
like,
you say 26%,
You
do
got
you
to get
acknowledge
those
that
spirit
our
fingers under
GDP?
control.
Hold on, guys. Do you acknowledge that our
I'm trying to get
GDP
his spirit fingers in check. He's
represents
doing-
almost half of the world's GDP? Do you acknowledge that?
our GDP. I don't think our GDP is half the world's GDP.
I don't-
Oh
we have one
my
of the highest GDPs in
Is
the
it?
world.
We do have the
So-
highest.
so-
So you're gonna sit here and tell me the United States of America isn't the wealthiest nation in the world on the contention of its GDP?
Most debt. It's not wealth, it's debt.
Yeah, but
the
it
numbers.
doesn't matter because if I have credit and if I have the Federal Reserve printing out money and now we got Bitcoin, it's all good. We can keep it pushing. We can keep it pushing, Grumples.
Bitcoin trash.
No, non-fun. It's ridiculous because I think what you're trying to compare.
I
to the
agree.
United
The U.S. is one of the richest countries in the world. That's why I'm looking at it as a percent of GDP, as a percent of how big the tax base is, as a percent of how many things the country produces, and everything that you can tax. We spend less than other countries, than a lot of other countries, than Norway, than Sweden, than like almost every European country has taxes and spending as a higher percentage of GDP.
You said you were born in 2005, right?
And all of them perform worse. Like all of them have worse performing economies.
On what metric? It depends.
Well, definitely.
put it all on a credit
I wasn't
card.
even going to suggest that one. All of them are in
I
bigger
think you guys
financial
are.
space.
I think you guys
They're
are
in more trouble.
understating. Go ahead, Flo.
I'm not convinced that Norway's in a bigger financial crisis than us, but
It's never
Norway's
going to
very
be in a bigger
exclusionary.
financial crisis than
Norway's
us.
not.
It's never going to
Norway
be.
invested the government funds into their oil, if I remember the country correctly,
Base-
and they don't
well funded.
and they don't allow people to immigrate in to tap into
Dude.
that.
I don't know.
That's like saying China's going to have a population crisis or India. You guys, we are literally living off of credit and military prowess. At
That's
this
true.
point, our children are fit. We're ranking non-fun. People your
Great
age,
children.
non-fun. People your age and younger than you are ranking 13th, 14th in basic arithmetic, sciences, history, English, language arts. So we need to really acknowledge the fact that the elite in this country run the world, but the majority of the people in this country have no idea what the fuck's going on. And you're trying to sit here and convince us that the market is sporadic because it's coincidental. Am I right or am I wrong?
I don't know what claims are wrong at this point. So the reason we started this is because I was arguing in favor of some type of welfare system, some type of redistribution to take from the winners and give to the losers from the free market, essentially.
No, fuck them, they lost.
That's initially,
That's
basically
where I'm
what I
at.
was arguing.
It turns
We
poverty
got
into an
sidetracked
industry.
into basically, how much
All
can
right, let
the
me
US
bring it back on track.
government spend? But
Do you recognize how redistributive systems then turn poverty into an industry in and of itself?
Yeah, can I just say one thing for a second here?
Talk
about
So
fucking
the
Social Security.
average,
Already got
Already
it.
an
It's not even
industry.
the
hypothetical.
average,
Yeah.
the average income in Canada, I believe, is like 65,000, something like that. I don't even remember, something like that. But whatever. I think it's a lot less than that. But I'm just being. And then it goes, oh, and here's how much an immigrant with their spouse and 3 children can have from the social system. And that's not including going to the hospital with our public medical benefits. And it's like $80,000 to $87,000 per year we give them.
I remember what you're talking about, but it wasn't spouse. They couldn't be married in order to get to that number, and it was
Okay,
in the
whatever
United
it
States.
was. But it's like
Yeah, we know
80
what
something
you're talking about.
$1,000.
I remember what you're talking. I
Right?
remember this. I remember it.
So I get what the young fellow's saying there, right? I really, really do. And then Flo, I feel a little disrespected today by Flo and Rizla, but maybe they're just having a bad day. But that's okay.
Is
Flo,
the
you
wrestler-
completely disregarded me earlier when I said I
What did
think
you
that
say?
all social welfare systems should be eradicated. And then you kind
I
of scoffed
must
at
have
me.
missed it, buddy. I've been checking out of this chat,
Okay.
of this
I get
stream
you.
more than normal.
It's just, I understand maybe for like a blind person, that's what Flo's saying here, right? Because like I have a blind and deaf aunt. I can understand why she would get social assistance, right? But I know thousands of people over the past 30 years. Literally thousands. I know a lot of people that are on social assistance or SSI, whatever, depending on the country, because anxiety.
Is this a flex?
Physically disabled person.
I have no idea.
Disabled person that doesn't get any benefits.
10th man is definitely on a list. He's on a list in Canada. It's just.
I'm on all the lists. I'm the prime minister.
I mean, if you're saying like disabled people should get paid.
Your phone.
I was muted. I mean, like, obviously, I mean, it's.
Okay, you can unmute yourselves now.
Based.
I'm curious for Flow State's answer. Would he be okay with disabled people getting payments?
Flo just explained it to you. I was trying to tie into what he was saying and also get my voices. What I'm saying is, like he said, it turns it into an industry. So that was his response, and then I explained to you how it can get out of control.
We could turn disabled people into cat food.
Well, no, we know what life was like before we had Social Security, right? We had poor houses, you had almshouses. Like, there's a reason that it's the most successful program the government's ever done.
Flo, we could also turn the government into poor people food.
That's quite a claim.
We have
I would say the elderly poverty, if that's like something you care about.
I would say the interstate system has been more successful.
That's fine. You think that Social Security has been effective?
Again, why do you think
Social Security is massively upside? Social Security is a mathematical disaster. Just because it worked on the front end,
effective at reducing elderly poverty.
A single one-line bill will fix Social Security.
It's not sustainable.
Like,
do you think that Social Security has been effective at reducing elderly poverty? I just want to answer that question.
I would just like to remove the interstates from this conversation.
Sure, on the front end. But what?
Can we just remove the interstates from this conversation? Because you know damn well that was because of Dwight E. Eisenhower to mobilize the military. That's why we have great highways in this country, some of the best in the world. Okay? War.
Wait, why can we build interstates? Why are you entitled to tax away people's money just to build interstates? So it doesn't have violate the NAP? What the fuck are you talking about, bro?
Well, at that time, it was a matter of being, are we going to speak German or are we going to...
This message is sponsored in part by...
Yeah, I have an issue with all the taxes. Why don't you go feed a homeless person? Why don't you go ladle lentil soup into their fucking starving ass mouth?
You know what? I give them dollars all the time.
You don't do shit, do you?
An individual doing this doesn't have a big effect on the whole of society. Like these systems only work.
Can't everyone do shit. Everybody else has to. What's the last thing you donated?
The United States weaponized roads.
What's the last thing you donated to?
It's a charity called the Shimp.
Well, now you're making Aussie's dumb arguments.
Me. And that last thing non-fawn donated to was me.
Ooh, that's a charity donation.
It doesn't care. That's not a charity donation.
Now, when you guys talk homeless, like here's the thing.
She's not a 501c.
Wait, real quick. So the last charity I donated to was a charity. You should all look it up, called the Shrimp Welfare Project. They help out a lot of shrimp. It's a really funny charity. Anyway,
you're kidding me.
Basically,
so I live in Los Angeles.
Hold on. Do you know what?
Treadmills?
Let me go gross for a minute. Do you know what shrimping is? Sexually, I learned this the other day. Me and two other friends were sitting there at dinner talking about all sorts of random stuff, and somehow we got on the notion of shrimping. Although it was brought to the table as a description of something gross that you do, and then we're like, "What the hell do you even call that?" And one of them actually texts her husband. She's like, "He'll know." Text him the description, and he seconds later, shrimping, and we're like, what the fuck? It's a thing. Look it up. It's gross.
Don't look it up.
No, don't search that.
Right now, and I'll read it to you momentarily. Bear with me, please.
Oh
no.
Google just got bombarded with everybody asking what the fuck shrimping is.
No one Google it.
Charity has never been above 2% of GDP in almost every
no. I'm not.
Country in the history.
This is not a top-down
social programs are actually effective at reducing poverty. Only work when everyone pays into it.
What I'm asking about is your right to demand that other people pay for the thing that you want, which is you want homeless people paid for. You're not willing to do it yourself. You're a hypocrite. You don't do shit.
I'm not.
Oh, come on. That's not even bad at all,
Sarah. I
Sarah.
already explained to you why I'm not a hypocrite, because I think these large-scale social programs only work when
No, you're
everyone actually pays into them,
absolutely
and that's
a
what I
hypocrite.
want society as a whole to pay into them. That's not a hypocrite.
You want to force other people to solve the problems that you
already
won't
said
solve
the
yourself.
interstate program was effective. How is that also not stealing?
No.
Yeah,
You're a hypocrite. You want
But is
other
he
people
supposed
to
to
pay for
fund
the
that,
problems
Phil?
you want credit for solving.
Oh boy.
You want to take other people's money because you think you know what to do with it better than they do, which is you think that they should use their money to solve those people's problems. You are not willing to get involved at all yourself.
I am. Again, these large-scale social programs only work when everyone pays into them.
No,
That's
they work.
why I want
They
everyone
work
to pay into
better.
them.
They work better. You can't do the whole thing.
They are.
Okay, so
the social
if you
programs are generally pretty
So
effective.
if you can't do
now,
the-
can I get an answer to my question? Do you?
No, we're not done
support-
with this. If you can't solve the whole,
bro.
you don't believe in solving any of the problem. It's all or nothing. Perfection
I
is
think it
going
is
to end.
moral. I think it is moral to donate to charity. I also think it is moral to have a social safety net and to have welfare programs.
Is it moral that
man?
Is it moral to steal from people?
If you define stealing as just taxes, then no. Then I don't think stealing is wrong.
I mean,
But-
when anybody besides the government runs
Real
a
quick,
tax scheme
real
where
quick,
they tell you what to buy and then they give you what you get back, it's called racketeering, and it's what the mob does. Are you?
Real quick, okay. You
What?
said that you think the U.S. interstate program was good or whatever. You think that was?
I think it was.
most concurrent program
It was.
ever. Do you think that was stealing? Just real quick, do you think that was stealing?
I think all taxes is stealing. Yes, that was stealing.
All
It was
taxes
one of
is
the
stealing.
better. It was one of the more efficient programs. It's one that's still in use today. It's
think
one
it was
that wasn't.
justified for the
It's
government
one
to do
that
that?
was. No, I don't think it's not morally justified. It
Right.
might be economically more efficient, but that's a different thing from moral justification.
Okay.
You understand that, right?
No, I understand. It's weird to me. Like, do you think that it was?
Why is it weird to you?
Do you think it?
Why is it weird to
because
you?
I view morality as like a utility maximizing.
You do.
thing,
So then we
it's funny for
should
me to-
kill off the disabled people.
No, because I don't think that's utility maximizing. That's easy.
Of course it is.
Nope.
How is that not utility maximizing?
Because people who have a right to life, and I think society's a lot worse if we. I do think negative rights, by the way,
Okay,
have
so
value.
there's your morality. That's your morality.
And there's sentient
Objectively,
experience.
disabled people are nothing but a drain on the economy. It would be
Not
more
just-
efficient to not have them.
I don't only care about the economy. I care about sentient beings, right? So I obviously
Okay,
think
so now
the
we're
sentient
working.
beings have
Now
a
we're
right to be
working. They're
protected.
different things, right? We got morality and we've got efficiency. They're two.
I understand. Yes, I know.
So-
understand.
So you don't want to kill people, but you're cool with stealing their shit.
I don't think it's stealing, but I think you can define it as stealing.
It literally
I would
is
just say
stealing.
stealing's
It's
not wrong
exactly
at that point.
stealing. How does it not meet
No,
the
I don't think
definition? Let's
The
look up the
definition
definition
of what?
of stealing, of theft. Theft.
I don't know. Taking something that you're not legally entitled to.
Because you
probably.
want it. Right?
Mhm. Taking something that you're not legally entitled to, I think, is probably some definition of theft. But I can accept the premise that taxation is theft or whatever. I just think that doesn't make taxation bad.
You don't think
You
it's
have to
makes- how does
justify
that not
why
make it morally
taxation is
wrong?
actually bad. Why it's
No.
not a utility maximizing thing. I think that obviously, absent a social safety net, absent a taxation and redistribution system, there will be some people who are just totally fucked over. There will be disabled people who are just totally fucked over and won't be able to buy food. There will be single mothers. There will be, times in recession where a lot of people are
Yep.
fucked over because no one can get a fucking job. I think that's horribly immoral, and I think it's more
People are
moral.
going to be fucked over either way, right? Somebody's getting fucked over.
But I
Here-
think one world is better than the other on
here's-
the whole. I think the
right.
world in which there is some tax.
I understand. That's my point exactly. You think you know better what people who earn their money should do with their money because you're a hypocrite and a narcissist.
It's not true at all.
But
I think
here's
the
something
programs
that
I support. Yes, I think are utility maximizing.
Here's something that
The
you need to
programs- the opposite
understand.
Programs I support involve taxing people.
Do you
I don't think
understand-
it makes me a hypocrite at all. By the way, telling people how to use their money, whatever, it's not like I think it's more moral for Jeff Bezos to donate to a charity than it is for Jeff Bezos to kill a bunch of dolphins. I don't think that's a controversial.
Wouldn't it be
statement to say.
most
It doesn't
moral
make
for
me-
you to fuck off of his money altogether because it's not
No,
yours?
because I don't believe in the fucking NAP, bro. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you.
God, I wish that I would so steal shit from you if you were close to me. Do you understand that an institution, a government, whatever, that starts off in step one not respecting individual human rights will never respect them all the way up. So if your first step is to disregard someone's individual rights or right to property by stealing from them, that ever after that they're not going to start They're not just going to disrespect human rights once and then be all good after that. You know that, right?
I mean, I if I don't believe that you are entitled to, if I don't believe in desert theory, like you're kind of fucked here, right? Because you understand, I fundamentally like don't believe that like you have these like innate individual rights or whatever. Like, or certainly even if I grant that we do have them, it doesn't mean that it's utility maximizing.
Okay, let's not get hung up on whether or not rights exist. I get it. Okay, we could debate that. But somebody who violates your right or violates your ownership of your property, they're not going to start respecting you later. It's like if a chick cheats on you, she's probably going to cheat on you again if you let it slide.
I mean, I think the U.S. government right now does a pretty good job at respecting rights for the most part. Maybe not under Trump with these summary deportations that we're getting, but like if I fundamentally, you understand from my utilitarian evil perspective why this isn't really like a issue for me.
Well, I understand that you have self contradictions within your perspective because you think you're a utilitarian who thinks it's atrocious to kill disabled people, but because
I don't wait. You recognize that that's not a contradiction, right? Because I don't think it's utility maximizing to kill disabled people. You recognize there's no contradiction.
There's no way that keeping all of these mouth breathers alive.
Wait. Can I just get you to say the sentence? You think it would be good for society as a whole if we killed old disabled people?
No, because I have more. My morals are consistent the whole way through. No, I believe
the government agrees
you think it would be utility maximizing. You think it would be utility maximizing to kill old disabled people? That's an unironic position.
No, I think that if you're a utilitarian, you think that.
If I may, for 1 second, the irony is that the young fella here. I mean, I'm elaborating. I assume that he understands that they're going to take your resources by force, and usually at the point of a gun.
Guys are presupposing
hold on,
entitlement philosophy. I have a disagreement with the entitlement philosophy. Like,
be respectful, young fella. I'm just, dude, I'm fast. All right, I don't want to disrespect you.
Condescending.
I'm already trying not to hit on you, so stop. All right.
Oh my god.
Well, once I figured out he was legal, I'm like, all right, it's fair game.
No, 10th man just won.
Congratulations.
Understand you're saying the government's going to take these resources
by
force.
Just give me a second.
You understand? Wait, I know. I want to answer this. You understand if I don't believe that you're entitled to those resources in the first place, that's not a problem for me, right?
You don't believe in ownership of
property? With Flo that he should steal your stuff.
I don't believe.
Just listen. If the government is going to use the point of a gun to take your stuff, that's why that's Joe. Story. So that's why Flo's use. I'm really tired and stoned. That's why Flo's using the analogy of eradicating the disabled, is because
not why.
Why? How can you not see the parallel there? You're willing to use the point of a gun to take his stuff.
Taxes are not theft in a democracy.
He's trying to use it as a reductio to utilitarianism, as if I haven't heard it before. But like,
that's
obviously, I don't believe it. I obviously don't believe it's net utility.
It's not a reductio ad absurdum. That's not.
No, that's but in a democracy,
the whole taxes thing is crazy because our nation was founded on like fighting over taxes, and now we tax our people more than anything.
Like, wait, saying your view entails this crazy thing that we
it was over not being taxed without representation.
Right.
Oh, so you think the taxing we have now is represented by the people, for the people, by the people?
Who do you think has a right to something I make?
Me.
I think it. I mean, it depends. I don't know if I believe in rights as like this innate, like fundamental thing, but there are certain things
you believe in
that are
some rights. You believe in right to life because you don't want me to take that from disabled
people. What is happening right now?
I believe here's the better way of phrasing it for me. I believe it's
is that we're dealing with a guy that has a 1/4 formed prefrontal cortex, but it's cute. Go ahead.
I believe it's utility maximizing for society to recognize the right, a right to life. I don't know if I would
science
like have any of these rights. I don't know if like.
No, rights aren't things that literally exist, but they're basically kind of loose agreed upon values, right? I mean,
right. So
whatever. It's a filler word. Don't get hung up on the word right. We know what we're talking about. I think, right?
Yeah. So I think it's utility maximizing for society to basically, act like we have a right to life or whatever. I think that's an overall good thing for society. In the same way, I think it's an overall good for society to tax and redistribute some wealth.
Do you have a right to property?
Oh my goodness!
you have a positive right to property, but I think property rights are generally utility maximizing, and that I think a free market is utility maximizing people.
How can you provide yourself with the means to your right to life, to support your right to life, if you don't have a right to property?
How can you what? Sorry.
How can you support your own right to life that you believe in if you don't have a right to property? If you don't believe in a right to property, like your own stuff.
I believe in the right to life in the same way I believe in the right to the word right is just not a good word to use.
I don't know what you want to
newsflash, non-fun. It has nothing to do with what you believe in. It has to do with the statutes and the customs of society over time.
Yeah.
This is how laws are founded.
Self-evident,
This is why the law is the only thing we have that keeps us separated from animals in the jungle.
No, it's not.
Do you guys not understand that?
What I'm talking about,
you got tossed in a cell. How dare you?
I'm asking his personal values.
Right.
He doesn't even know them because he thinks what he believes.
That's what I'm helping him refine.
A general like property right system. I'm fine with saying that. I don't like the word right there.
Okay.
The fact that you guys are having a conversation with Non-Fon and you think you're educating him is the funniest thing about all of this.
The fact that you sit behind an animated icon on YouTube and think you have any superiority is a great example of the rights you're disregarding, Non-Fon.
The rights I'm disregarding? Okay.
I like to use the word disregardlessly.
No, we love you, Non-Fun. When I see your knees shaking, bro, just like, don't even worry about it. This place is brutal. They treat me like a shit on their shoes some nights, but you keep coming back.
I just think it's adorable. You people think because you have a diploma that you're smart.
You're a pervert from Canada. You're a pervert from Canada, and you know how to code.
It's adorable.
Doesn't change anything.
That's not what makes me smart, but that is the challenge that was leveled to me.
What'd you say, Grumpus? I heard of you people. What do we mean by you people?
Probably.
Wait, did I say you?
Come on now.
Righteous.
Yeah, I heard of you. Like, what do you mean, you people?
Oh God, I hate it when I say you people.
Credentialists.
That you people really gets you caught up in a political cancel situation. You know what I mean?
I've been canceled so many times. I'm a dead man.
Speaking of canceling, gentlemen, I'd love to get your final thought. Oh, damn it, Marathon Kev. All right, I'll stay up. I'll stay up a little longer for you.
I refuse to be on this panel with that man.
Well,
of course, you're scared of him.
Did you just assume his gender, sir?
You're scared of his masculine Black American energy, bro. You're scared of this man, bro.
Wait, is this foundation Black American?
Because I just came up to ask one question. This is what Grump said. What the hell you mean, you people? Okay.
Wow.
All right, gentlemen, let's get through our final thoughts. Hornet, starting with you, sir.
Yeah, just to comment on that last conversation, if you have a social safety net that essentially feeds to the bottom percentage of people, then they feed into the economy, which increases the amount of spending power that company now has, which ultimately benefits them. It's just simple economics. Like when you empower your dollar, that's how it works.
What do you think, rich people?
Well, I thought this was my final thoughts.
Flo, come on.
He can't do final thoughts and open up a whole new can of bullshit.
Well, you guys were talking a lot. Yeah, that's just the simple economics of it all. That's why I don't think that.
My final thoughts are you're gay.
Okay. Based.
I just came thrice.
Remember to hit that like button and go sub up to Avoided Hornet on YouTube.
Clean up your mess, bad boy.
All right, Sarah, thank you for having me on.
Always, Hornet, always. Rob.
Hey. Okay, yeah. It's just been listening to Non-Fun here. It's kind of hard to take your moral claims, your value claims seriously. You say you love America and everything, then you also describe yourself as a globalist, which, in my opinion, is completely antithetical. Those two.
Debate me. Set up a debate anyway.
Yeah. No, I'm down. Honestly, I'd be down to do that financial one, whatever you were talking about earlier. I'll throw my hat in the ring, possibly a Discord message, whatever. But so I just don't believe in any of that. It really doesn't work if you're just going to create some massive social safety net, considering we already have one. If you're just going to expand it, it's like, does it really work? Is it really like a net utility maximizer in the way that you think it is? If you're taking away, like Flo says, taxes from the individual who like their property rights are just, they don't really count anymore if you're just going to keep constantly chipping away at all their finances. Like, doesn't really seem like a cogent position. Yeah, and I just, again, love to possibly do that debate. I'll send a message, but thanks for having me on, Sarah. It's been great.
As always, Rob. Thank you. Effigy to you.
Final thought. You just heard some of the most childish fucking takes on basic society in modern times. Like, going back like 2,000 years to argue against the fucking idea of taxation is kind of ridiculous at this point. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Thanks for having me on. Always great arguing with all you guys. Take care.
Thanks, Effigy. Always a blast having you. 10th man to you.
Started today. Really mad at Trump. Hated him. I recall him explaining, and I don't know everything about history because, like I said, I'm not a rocket surgeon. But he explained that the country of America was set up that there weren't supposed to be taxes. There were only supposed to be tariffs. So if they're going to take your taxes and then they're going to say, oh, go make this movie about penises turning into vaginas and stuff. Let's do that. Then I don't want you taking any money from my taxes anymore.
Is that it?
Yep.
All right. Thanks, 10th man. We appreciate having you on. Grumple Stiltskin to you.
Yes, ma'am. Oh. We're closing. Outstanding. Yes, I am a Grumple Stiltskin on all platforms. On Twitch, it's spelled a little bit differently. That's why I have it there and then there. I just with work, I've not been doing content as much lately. I'm trying to get the things set up to get back into having time for it. The funny thing is, personal earned income taxes on a federal level didn't exist until the early 1900s. How did we ever afford my roads before then? Well, maybe we get back to that, but the things don't exist in a vacuum. Tariffs, everything, the short term, it's probably going to be like ripping a Band-Aid off, but it doesn't exist in a vacuum. All of these things, we talk about them like they're in a vacuum. You got to look at the big picture and the long term. Some other countries, I won't name the specific ones, everybody knows, they look at things generationally, like, hey, how is this going to impact us in 100 years? That's maybe instead of the United States, where we judge things based on this quarter and next quarter. Maybe check that out. I talk about prepper stuff. We use zombies as a catch-all for like preparedness and things. I do pew-pew stuff and sometimes games and like generally dad advice because I'm old enough to be some of y'all's grandpappy. But sub to Sarah, hit like on everybody's stuff. I'm live right now. I'm just doing a tech test. Don't do anything with me. Sub to Non-Fawn, hit like on his. I don't go give Powdered Donut a like also and send him a super chat because he's probably going to be dusty right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been great, Sarah. Thanks for having me on. I know I came in late. Y'all have a great night.
Certainly. Thank you, Grumple. We always enjoy having you on, too. You're always like the goofy one-liner, throw it in there kind of person. Makes me chuckle. Non-Fawn to you.
Jesus. Okay. So real quick, tariffs or taxes. You can't replace taxes with tariffs because tariffs just can't raise that much revenue. And also they are still taxes and they are regressive taxes, meaning they tax the poor more than the rich. When they were used as a major source of revenue, government spending was like 3% of GDP. The government just didn't do much. Secondly, when it comes to this whole welfare NAP nonsense thing, whenever these people are talking about stealing and talking about, taxes or theft or any of this shit, they're jamming into their definition of theft, their theory of entitlement, their desserts theory of entitlement, which is you own yourself and what you produce. I think that it sounds good in theory, just like basically every ideology does. I think it has some very negative entailments, and I think it doesn't really make sense, partly because we don't know what, first of all, we can't even calculate what people produce. That's literally impossible. It's the same problem that Marx's labor theory of value has, by the way, the joint production problem, and you literally can't calculate it. And it has some horrible negative entailments. Look up like the flagpole reductio NAP. If you want to watch me defend globalization on my stream because it increases income, increases jobs, benefits the US, benefits our allies as well. Okay. Head over to Nonfon on YouTube, NONFON, or Nonfon420 Torch a Kick. A lot of debates uploaded on the YouTube channel. Sarah's in some of them, Grumple's in some of them. As you go, check them out because they're really cool. Thanks for having me on, Sarah.
Thank you, Nonfon. And Nonfon, I have so much respect for you. You're always incredibly intelligent and wise. You know, there's a lot of disagreements I can see why people have on things you say, but I know you come from a place that's definitely well researched, and I have a very big respect for that. I always appreciate having you on. When you come on, I know the brains come out. So outside of that, everybody, I'm so excited that you made this holiday special especially special. I didn't expect a big showing. I didn't expect a huge panel, but you guys kept it rocking and rolling all evening. Excuse me. Don't forget, you are currently watching, well, some of you, most of you are watching from the Gauntlet. That is now my second channel. All of our open panels will be redirected over to here post debates. So if I have a Mod Monday debate over on the Raging Tomato, pretty soon it will just cut off at the open panel, and open panel will start and kick off on the Gauntlet. So you want to ensure you are subscribed to both of them. That way you can enjoy the chat and so on and so forth and get the notifications. Also, if I'm just going into open panel or shit talking, drama stirring, all of those fun things, I will only be doing that on the Gauntlet here soon. So it's going to be a very big, vast separation of shows and styles, and you'll see that as it begins to happen and come into play. So thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thank you for following the redirect over to the Gauntlet. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching from Powder Dusty, Grumple Stillskin, and I believe Nonfon, you're connected as well. We're super excited you're all here. If you haven't liked, subscribed, shared to any of the people that have been on the panel this evening, then you are fucking wrong and you can fuck off.
A long time ago, in a YouTube world full of keyboard warriors, many monsters and trolls lurked in the chat rooms. They thrived on arguments amongst each other until one day, a heroine rose from the ashes. She was made from the tears of beta bitches and the sweat of alpha male gym guys. Throughout the centuries, this keyboard warrior princess showed up in many forms. She slayed many demons along the way. By the light of the moon, she led the simp army into battle. Wielding her sword, she fought through the dark forests. With each new era, the monsters evolved. The keyboard warrior princess grew stronger with new skills to bring them down. The world around her advanced, but so did she. Her heroism became known to society as technology advanced, and with each new generation, she had to learn how to blend in to keep her identity hidden. Now known as the Raging Tomato, this keyboard warrior princess fights for justice in every debate. She fights for freedom, for moderator bias, and she fights for your ability to battle on an open panel for your beliefs. She protects the simp troopers from destruction. She fights to create peace among troll wars. She storms the battle zones without hesitation and leaves the battleground with her pockets full of souls. Are you ready to battle your fellow trolls? Are you ready for a moderator to give you time to talk? Are you ready for justice, peace, and a fair fight? Tune in every Monday night to watch your friends duke out their issues, or join the open panel so that you can fight the good fight and find resolution with your peers.